Hey, how we doing? We're talking on the internet again. I'm going to talk like Darius Culpepper for a second. Apparently, we're talking like each other, so I'm going to try and introduce this. My name is regularly Corey Hogger. How you doing? We got a whole group of people here. We got Sammy Mannequin back there in the back, living her best wild girl life. Hot girl summer is in full effect. Keeping this grounded in both vocal tones and in writing. We got Darius Culpepper, gonna keep some topics going for us, giving us all the extra color, minus the colored pencils this week, but everything else, we've got Monica Salceda, adding all of the flavor, and then to give us our baseline hydration, we've got Skylar Neal over there. The Sky Lord, the Sky Guy. Something's gonna stick by one of these podcasts. We're gonna get the right nickname for this dude.
Right.
But we've made it through another week in this roundabout we got going around the sun. How we feeling about this week, folks?
Yeah, I'm going through it.
Yeah?
How about you guys?
Well, what you going through, bud?
Oh, well, I gotta get my passport together, and they told me to go to Walgreens. I went to Walgreens. Fucking, they just won't do it. And then and the whole post office, going to the post office, you guys. I don't want to go into my 5 minutes about relatable post office stuff, but let's just say it's a hassle.
All right, he's closer. He's got real intentions, just the wrong person, but we're getting closer. So that's how Darius's day has been going, trying to deal with the post office and getting paperwork done so that we can do extra travelings. So, how are you feeling about going up to Canada?
Oh man, I feel good about it, but I'm definitely the type of person that believes that you should expect the worst so that when the best happens, you're surprised. That's just me. I'm a cynic. You know, it's just.
That's fair, but you also got to be prepared to go through with those things in order to see what the worst case scenario can be like.
Mm-hmm. Like The Hatchet. Have you ever read the book The Hatchet?
What?
He takes a plane ride similar to the way Darius is to Canada and prepare for the worst.
The plane crashed.
Exactly.
And he just had a hatchet.
He just and it's like.
But yeah, I mean, but no, it's a fun opportunity, definitely. You know, however, I just think that having expectations tempered is just always the best route to go, just so that there's no real disappointment, like when you're kind of expecting to be disappointed. However, it is just something good to say that I did.
Yeah.
So I'll do it, you know, but I'm not really expecting or hoping for anything. I'm just kind of going just
because it's probably the right thing to be doing.
Just existing in that moment. And so just not really hoping the moment brings me anything, just doing it, and if a good time is had, then yay, but if not, then I'm cool with that as well.
Man, if I'm being totally honest, all of like the most memorable times in my life are when things went terribly fucking wrong. So when I go into like situations, I usually am like, well, this will probably be all right, and I'll survive. Or I'll die and it won't matter, or it'll be really fucking awful and then I'll have a story to tell if I survive. It's just, either way, life is always full of all the bullshit, and as long as you can try and figure out, well, all right, so I know how to best position myself to do, in relative terms, as good as I can in any given environment. Yeah, you know, try and strive for something like that. That way, even if it doesn't go wrong in the eyes of everyone else, like, it could be a popular opinion shit show, but like, if I can make it through that and learn to overcome it, then I've got a story to tell for somebody else to overcome some extra bullshit. And the most bullshit is involved in all of the bureaucracy, especially in getting a passport. I still don't understand passport games.
God, right?
When I was in the military, they made me go overseas on a military ID card and orders. So like outside of that, I never got a passport. I literally circumnavigated the world and I didn't get a passport. Because they needed, so they send you overseas before you know fucking anything.
Yeah.
And then when you're overseas, they're like, hey, you need a passport. What? I got here, so how does that matter now? And they're just like, oh, so you can do TDYs. It's like, oh, so I can do extra work for you guys that I'm still getting the exact same pay for? Now, technically, I was in the Air Force, so I would have gotten a little bit of a pay and bump, or a bump in pay, but it's not worth it. I was already in Japan. It wasn't going to get better.
How did you like Japan?
Well, for being like 23 to 25, the bars were great. That's where I spent most of my time. I went into the bar rows, did some clubs. So Roppongi is like the party district. Shibuya is like a shopping district. So it kind of breaks itself. Tokyo breaks itself up into subsections a lot like LA. So like everyone, like it's an actual city, but like inside of the greater conglomerate.
Yeah.
And you learn. We took the train a lot. The train, the way of getting around in Japan is very efficient. Like they all fall in line with the order of bureaucracy. I think it's called collectivism. Is in relative terms what they go socially for. So like if it's better for the group, it's better for everyone. So like they try and be more orderly and organized and personable about things.
I did see a video explain. I think it was Japan that did it, but how they did their train system was by studying mold.
Sure.
Because mold
put,
just gropes all the women on the train. And so they were like, let's
Skylar.
implement that into our train
No, they
system
put little
in
pieces
Japan.
of oats marking each like major city and stuff, and the bacteria had gone through it's a very specific bacteria, but it's like intelligent in the way that it moves, and it found the most efficient way to get to each piece of oat, and that's how they mapped out like the city was just how the bacteria, because it found the most efficient way to get to and from like each
I guess, sure.
mapping it out.
It's kind of like following an ant colony.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they figured out a way that works for them. We can just kind of mimic that and try and make it for people size.
Yeah. Anyways, carry on.
Japan, friends of the show. Try Japan. You're doing great, Japan. We love you. But
And it's just rub their ass.
your week. How was your week though? I feel like you have a lot
Well, I did have a good time this weekend. My sister and her wife came up. And they brought their little Frenchie, who shit in her house.
Yeah.
I mean, no, she didn't.
Uh-huh.
Claire's watching.
to. We'll edit it and post it.
Right. No, but she's a sweet dog though. She's very mild mannered. She's just like she's pretty quiet. Like her little cough sounded like, or not cough, her bark sounded like an old smoker's cough. She's like,
Aw. Yeah, get that vocal fray.
yeah. And she's a lot heftier than Bowie too. Like she's like her thick little body, so cute. Bowie did not fuck with her though. Like he is a people dog, not a dog's dog. Like he loves attention and stuff, and he's like nice enough, but like he definitely was like trying to like show her who was boss the whole time. And it was
Give me
just, like,
personal bubble, lady.
yeah, and she just wanted to play because she's got other like they have other dogs, so
It's a very socialized
yeah,
dog.
so she's like trying to play, and she's still like a year old. She's just like a little puppy, you know. But yeah, we realized Bowie was not a dog's dog. He likes these dogs because he grew up with these dogs, but beyond that, and that's why.
Well,
I was
aside
like,
from the giant dog that tries to eat him like a chew toy.
well, and he even he thinks that he can play with Oliver. Like, that's the problem, is like he eggs him on, and it's just like, because he thinks in his head he's a big dog. Like, he's a big dog, and it's just like, Bowie, you are maybe 5 pounds soaking wet. Like,
Right?
relax.
Yeah,
He looks
maybe.
like a little rat. Like, even his tail is like the size of a rat tail, and it's just like. But it did kind of make me appreciate him a little bit more because he's pretty on a schedule. Like, he's not fully trained in all of the things we would hope. Like, we're working with him to get better,
Yeah.
but he's a fairly
Showing progress.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
he goes to the bathroom like twice a day. He's like pretty on schedule. Like, he doesn't have accidents. The whole time we've had him, he's only thrown up once.
Aw.
Yeah, and we were like, dude, you gotta stop eating stuff off the floor, bro. It's for your own good, I swear. Anyways, but I did have a lot of. I just went on a whole dog sidetrack.
No, the focus groups have shown
Yeah,
that dog
everyone
people
loves
watch
dogs.
our show.
Dog people, yeah.
So it's cool.
He's a fox pom or just a Chihuahua Pomeranian mix. It's undecided. But yeah. My sister being here it was really nice. Over the years, me and my sister, like, our relationship has been kind of like touch and go there.
Yeah.
We've dealt with a lot of things, as most families do. And I think with me being the oldest, I realized that I believe that is just the cross to bear as an eldest child. I've realized is you're the
responsible one.
Yeah, you're the second parent. So you're gonna be telling them things that they don't want to fucking hear all the time.
But it's out of love.
Yeah, and then it's just like, okay, all my siblings have tried to fight me, like physically. My brothers, my sister. So it's one of those things. But I think me and my sister are really like finally getting to a place. We've had quite a few like talks and stuff, like just about like past traumas that we've endured together and separately, and just kind of starting to try to understand
Each other's perspective in it.
Yes, where it's just like, I thought these were the things you were holding against me, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to. And it's crazy because there's certain things that I felt like I took on the responsibility of that wasn't necessarily my responsibility.
Yeah, that happens
But
too.
you're like, I should have protected you. Like, I should have been there. I was your older sister. Like, that was my job. That's my place in your life. And then she's like, what? That doesn't even bother me. Like, what bothered me was when you said this, and this is what I play over and over. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is the thing that you held on to and let traumatize you? And, like, you realize, like, as different people, there's different things that affect the trajectory of your emotions moving forward, and just kind of, like, you're like, oh, okay, so, like, I'm looking at you from my perspective of our like shared experiences, thinking, oh, these things shouldn't have affected you
Because they wouldn't have affected you.
exactly. And even the things that like were said, it's just like we have a very it's like we're both very mean, but like there's different, like, she was always like kind of like babied a little bit, you know, like she was just cute and tiny and everybody, and I was annoying and hyperactive, you know, like, and just like the rough like tomboy. So it was just like we had very different like, you know, experiences outside of the life that we like, and experiences that we shared together, like us moving about the world on our own. And I think we both kind of just assumed things from like our home life that was the same in our outside life.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think once she kind of realized that, like, hey, like life was fucked up for me too, like in school, and like you think I was just like this person that was just admired by all and people, you know, and it's just like, no, like people were fucking mean to me too.
Yeah, we all had to go through the social ladders.
Yeah, just like people are just mean in general. Junior high and high school fucking sucks for everyone.
People, like, you get a group of teenagers together, and it's the worst thing that's happened, no matter what.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're like the popular kid or whatever. There's things that each of these different like groups of kids deal with, whether it's at home or whether it's at school by your peers, like all these kids are dealing with stuff, and then just understanding that, like, yeah, I went on a whole tangent. But needless to say, we went to a karaoke room. It was a good time. At first, I was like, and I realized it might have been my attitude when we first got there. I was like, it smells like shit in here. Because it smelled like feet, like
Well,
straight
sure,
up just,
yeah.
it's like a karaoke room, you know?
Okay, like
And
4 to
that
5
you-
people.
Yes, that you just rent. You can rent bigger ones, but it was actually a really good time.
Yeah.
But when I first walked in, and I think the waiter heard me say, like, it smells like shit in here, like, it smells like feet, like, do they fucking clean these, you know? Because you're paying, like, $250 for this, like, space. So it's
Yeah.
just, like, to me, it's like, I expect it to be, like, clean. If you're charging people
Yeah,
this
right.
much
Worth
for this.
$250 for the experience.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's for like 2 hours and stuff. It was pretty nice though. And then he was kind of like rude at first, but like his tune changed later on. And I think because at first the energy was just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Ugh, this is why we don't go out in public. This is why we don't do stuff, because we don't like to deal with like the general public, which I'm thinking we're renting the room, so we're not really having to deal with people. And it's like they already told us it was gratuity included, so I'm like, what the fuck are we paying you gratuity when you're not even doing shit? Like you're not really, you haven't come to check in on us. You've been kind of rude this whole time, and it's just like they already took like $50 off the top, like added to like the room expense. Like this is part of the package, you know. So that's
Did that
why
include drinks?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was a lot of drinks, which I was just kind of like, damn, can we like get food instead of the alcohol? Like, which is probably what I should have asked, is just to get a bunch of food instead of alcohol. And then we could have just got like 1 or 2 drinks, because we did not need all the drinks that came with it at all. We did not finish it.
Well, it does make karaoke strong. It makes you belt out those songs like
did.
you believe it.
I did, and it was. But once we kind of shook it off, we were able to kind of like just enjoy it. I even got this guy to sing a couple songs.
Yeah.
With me, so it is something that I would probably do again.
We should have a karaoke episode.
Oh, don't play with me.
5 people, like, you don't even have to rent a room for that. You can just have in a car. You know that James Corden carpool karaoke?
Yeah,
Exactly.
they do have those little karaoke mics too.
They probably spend like less on that production budget than whatever they were charging at the feet room.
The feet room.
Mhm.
But it was fun though. It
Yeah.
was fun. It was a good time.
They
And
can
then
make more money.
they changed their tune afterwards. They, you know, I don't know what happened. Probably because the guy walked in and scared the shit out of me, because he came in like an assassin, just tiptoeing. And I was like, ah! And he got a good kick out of it. And
Yeah.
so I think after that, like, it was like, okay.
It helps lighten the mood.
Yeah.
We're here. Might as well.
Go ahead.
I don't really have anything to add to that, but I do want to say this. Over the weekend, I found out that Arnold Schwarzenegger's second best movie is The Last Action Hero.
Oh my God, it is. We just
So you
watched
had
it.
never watched it
No.
before? And so, just quick refresher.
Ahead of
That's
its
the
time.
one where there's a kid and he wants like the toy, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's based on. No, that might be
That's
Jingle All the Way.
All the Way.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have the toy for that. I was like, you haven't
Jingle
seen
All the Way,
it?
I
Yeah.
think, is his first best movie, but Last Action Hero is where the kid actually gets thrusted into the movie.
Okay.
He's got the like magical movie ticket, and he hangs out with the old man that runs the old theater that's like getting shut down or whatever. And
Is that the one where there's like a vertical, like, they're around a skyscraper and there's like a plane that's like going around? No?
I don't think so.
I think you're thinking about 9/11.
Oh, yeah, that's it,
This
that's
is a movie from the 90s.
It almost the 90s, 2001, so it was close enough.
No. This is a movie from the 90s.
Okay.
9/11 was 2001. But no, this movie, anybody who was grown in 1993, the fact that y'all didn't give the movie more, I'm very disappointed in
I feel
y'all.
like it went over everyone's head. It was dare I say genius.
Also-
like, it's really good.
Also,
Just-
this is something that everybody at this table is gonna disagree with, and that's cool. But also, fuck Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park is what caused Last Action Hero not to get as much love as it should have gotten. Fuck those dinosaurs, man. Last Action Hero should have been the highest grossing movie of 1993.
well, I
That's
think
my opinion.
maybe the Last Action Hero should have just maybe came, if it would have possibly not been competing with Jurassic Park, because sometimes I think about the fact that, like, okay, so now we're in the whole streaming wars and all this stuff. So, like, yes, box office matters, but, like, after the pandemic, that kind of, like, really threw
Yeah, you
a
don't
wrench
need a
into
specific
everything.
weekend anymore.
Yeah. But back in the day, it was really just, like, they were banking on those box offices to, like,
Basically,
really,
just the first weekend is all that mattered.
yeah.
But back in
Yeah.
the day, it was like Arnold and Explosions. Like in '93, just looking at it like that before the movie's coming out, I would have thought Arnold would have been able
To pull more in.
yeah,
Well,
outgross a bunch of dinosaurs.
yeah.
In '93, not knowing anything of what we know now, I would have thought Arnold would have been better than what the fuck
Yeah,
is
but
Jurassic
okay.
Park?
So like Arnold Schwarzenegger was on a historic run from call it around 87, 88 till like 92. And
But
then
nothing's more historic than dinosaurs. So it
Prehistoric.
Yeah.
what I was saying, like he had been around and he had made it to this point of the Last Action Hero, and we hadn't seen dinosaurs in 63 million years. So the newness of the dinosaurs coming back kind of trumped the last stand of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But this was the movie where he actually acted in. We hadn't seen dinosaurs in a while. We hadn't seen him act ever.
Yeah, I was gonna
but
say
here's-
acting might be
So
strong.
this
Yeah,
is
acting
like-
was a strong word. It was still kind of like.
No. But
It was
but
acting
I
for
think
him,
that you
yeah.
have to have an awareness to parody yourself. That does require some sort of awareness. And he
Yeah.
parodied himself
True.
at an elite level in that movie. I get what you're saying about the dinosaurs, but it's like
Well, it's
Arnold
also.
Schwarzenegger was the Rock at that time.
Yeah, but they're also marketing to the same generation who grew up with Star Wars, who's wanting that nostalgia for like sci-fi, like that type of thing. Like Star Wars came in what, like the 70s?
Yeah.
And it's just like
Late
those are the
70s.
kids that are now adults that are now taking their kids to movies, and they're like, oh, dinosaurs, we can all enjoy
Big old
this.
spectacle.
Yeah. So I think that had something to do with it, like, as well. Because it's a lot of, what would they be, boomers and Gen Xers? Mostly Gen Xers.
It was the Gen,
Yeah,
the Gen
yeah,
Xers
probably.
was like in their early 20s at the time.
It was, yeah. So it's like, yeah. And then these are the people that are now of the age of, like, let's go to the like, they're the target.
Let's all go to
yeah.
the movies.
But, like you said, you mentioned The Rock.
Yeah, friend of the show. Also, hey Rock.
It would be awesome to see a remake of Twins with The Rock and Kevin Hart. Because that's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with Danny DeVito. Probably his #1 movie. Or Junior. Total Recall is pretty good as well.
Have you seen Jingle All the Way?
Right.
Shout out
the-
Sinbad. That's pretty good.
What the fuck? That movie. Oh man, so great. That one did well at the box office. Not heavy
I
competition.
love Jingle All the Way. We watch it every year, at least twice.
Nice. I have not seen it probably since I was a kid.
Oh,
What?
man.
You mean you missed all the times that we rented it to watch it over the last 3 years? You spent a couple Christmases with us, and you
How
missed
did you
this.
miss?
Right?
How did you miss
How
that?
did you miss that? No, but The Rock wanted to remake that movie, yeah?
Oh, I could
I
see
know
that.
you wanted-
What's it called?
Last Action Hero.
Last Action
Yeah.
Hero, didn't he?
Yeah. You wanted to remake it. That would be dope if they both.
Were in
both
it
Arnold
together?
and him. Yeah, that would actually be pretty fresh. That would be pretty fresh. But speaking of Hollywood and all of this stuff, you were at the museum.
I did.
The Oscar Museum.
I did
How
go
was
to the
that?
Oscar Museum this weekend as well with my sister and stuff. It actually made me want to cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I had an overwhelming feeling of just like
Was it sentimental?
sadness. No, it was just kind of sad.
Every time I go by that, I get the same feeling, but it's because the bus stop is in the sun, and there's no it's like right outside that spot, and there's an indent where you can sit on the thing, but then there's like this little security guy who comes out and like shakes homeless people away from sitting on the thing. I'm like, I'm not sleeping here. I'm just sitting here for the bus, and there's like shade, but yeah, right there. That's on Fairfax and whatever goes across Fairfax. That one. Right?
I think you were asking the wrong person. I
Oh.
never know where I'm at.
Yeah, like the Uber or Lyft, whoever's driving usually knows. Or Google.
Right? Yeah.
So you felt sad. Why was that?
It was just overwhelming sadness because you're walking through. Okay, so one of the first rooms we walk into, you guys may or may not know this already, but I'm a little history. Okay, so we go in and it's like backdrop, and I was like, oh, okay, let's see. Like they have
Right,
this
right.
big backdrop that they made where it's like this painted scene of fucking Mount Rushmore. Now okay, Mount Rushmore was.
So it's a painting of Mount Rushmore?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's like a backdrop,
Sure.
like to where it makes it look like, you know, I can show you guys the pictures, but
Got a bit of a 3D scope
yeah,
to
so
it.
like you get in front of it and it low key looks like we're actually there,
Yeah, okay, it did.
but so that's the backdrop.
Oh, okay.
That's the backdrop. But so Mount Rushmore was originally sacred native grounds.
Sure, the
And-
Black Hills, right?
I believe so. And then it was just defaced.
It was faced. It didn't have a face
well,
before.
Yes.
Refaced,
It
I
was
guess.
Yeah.
broad face.
So it's just like, to me,
Three-faced.
the irony is there's a couple years ago on Thanksgiving
No,
that
these
the-
motherfuckers are so ugly. You could call that defaced, honestly. 'cause the
But it's just
motherfuckers
like,
that
so
they
we
put
go
up
in there
here
to
is-
take the picture, and we're like, this is for our people, and we like, you know, like, so we just take a picture, you know, and then other people are coming in, and we're like trying to move out of the way, and there's a guy that works there that's like, okay, we need to behave when other people are here. And I didn't really think about it in the moment. I'm just like, okay, let me just move out of the way, because it's just like I have been conditioned to like respect authority and just like, and in truth, like it's just like, bro, I'm probably older than you. He probably thought we were a bunch of fucking teenagers because we had Johnine with us.
Yeah.
She's 12 and we have our masks on, and
Sure.
like we all look like young enough, I guess. I'm like, does he think we're fucking teenagers? Sir, I am 33. Like, and also we're not defacing anything. If anything, this is a defacement
Yeah,
of
right.
like this is actually like the fact that we are glorifying this and still making it so, like as if this should be respected and like held, like this was like just, I don't know. Anyways, a few years ago, Macy's Day Parade, the irony of this, it's like, obviously they have it every year or whatever. They have a huge Mount Rushmore float, and I'm like, what? On Thanksgiving,
why?
like you just, so it just kind of reminds you of how much people just don't understand like what actually happened in this fucking country, and the fact that they just don't educate you on like how it came to be the thing that it is, and all of the people that were massacred
Yeah.
in order to just, and the fact that it wasn't necessary, that they were a peaceful people that were willing to share the land and to show you how to live on it in a way that like they were just like, oh, this is uncivilized. And I find it ironic how now we are in a place where the descendants of said people are now like hippies and trying to live off the land and go back to the ways how it was before when they were called savages, and doing all this stuff in the name of civilization when it's just like pretty much depleting resources and destroying the planet. Just the irony. But anyways, I was just more upset that I was like, I was told to like behave myself as if we were doing any like it's just like it's
The
freedom
absurdity
of yeah. I
of
was like
their
it's freedom of
rules.
speech.
Let me ask you,
But-
when the guy said, let's behave, do you think that there was any like racist subtext to that?
You know what? I didn't really think about it until after the fact, but I just think that like people are also conditioned to like okay, like let's respect these people that like it's just like but like why
that
do
were
they...
super disrespectful to an
Exactly.
entire indigenous people.
Yes,
You know,
and it's just like so why do these
Excuse me,
people
so you're standing on this is Oscar worthy ground.
Well, and then even you just walk through the rest of the display, and don't get me wrong, there was some really cool stuff there. But you just see, and it's just like, you know that Hollywood has been racist, but when you really see it, it just...
how overwhelmingly white it is.
Well, because you go and you see, and there's just certain things that were posted there, and it's just like, I'm going to read you one of these like little excerpts, because you see blackface stuff, and they try to make it seem like it was in all good fun, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh no, this wasn't racist, this is just how things were.
Well, insofar as like how they used to justify women not being able to be in theater, it's
Exactly.
like this is what we've agreed upon. Like this is like a white dude's thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, but no, and you're also mocking. So because you don't
Mm-hmm.
have any inference of the culture you're speaking of, it comes across as mocking instead of like uplifting and knowing.
Exactly. It's not like, so it's like blackface performance in film. Many popular stars of the 1930s and the 1940s, from Bing Crosby to Fred Astaire, and even child star Judy Garland and Shirley Temple performed in blackface on film. Generally, these actors were not portraying African American characters, but white entertainers who are performing in blackface within the context of the film. This industry-wide practice extended the hugely popular minstrel show from its roots in 19th century theatrical entertainment and vaudeville well into the 20th century. So it's just like, and then underneath they had this thing, this media contains disturbing racist depictions of people and cultures. Please use your discretion when viewing. And it's just like
That negates everything you just said. That they
bro,
just said. Yeah.
exactly. So it's just
like,
like, hey, it wasn't racist, but this whole thing does.
hey, it
It
wasn't
will
racist,
trigger
but part
anything
of the
that
racism.
seems like racism.
Yeah, and then it's just like characters of color played by white actors. Since the silent era has been normalized for white actors, aided by hair and makeup transformations to portray characters of any race. While these performers are often informed by stereotypes from long-standing traditions of racial impersonations, the portrayal of characters of color by white actors is a distinct practice. The viewer is meant to accept these characters as believable despite the fact that they privilege white filmmakers' interpretations over the lived experiences of people of color.
Well, at least they're learning how to articulate how fucked up it is.
Yeah, but then it's just kind of like...
Then why are we making a monument to it?
Yes. It felt like we're glorifying this
Essentially.
part, and it's just like, and there, it's just like, and it felt like everything else on there, like there's only, I think Moonlight was the only Oscar that they had there for any like black film that was made in the whole museum. I don't know what else was in the museum, but it just felt like, and then they had a whole display of the face paint that they used and the different shades for every race. And then in this same museum that they had Mount Rushmore, they have a whole like thing on John Wayne films and the Navajo tribes that were background actors for the films. And they're like, oh, they used to like kind of dick around on set and just kind of improv stuff because, you know, no one knew what they were saying and no one would translate it until years later. And basically they're just like, you're a snake in the grass and you have no idea, like, you know, like it's going to come back to like bite you in the ass type thing or whatever. Like,
But
I
it's
don't know,
just
but like, and they're like kind of like whatever, but it's just like, and the actor is responding completely different because, like, in the movie, it's clearly not, like, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter what you're actually saying because no one's going to know what you're actually saying. And it's so crazy to think that they have completely eradicated an entire fucking language to the point where the average American, and the truth is, this was part of the original Americans, and barely anyone speaks that language.
Yeah, that kind of falls under the not having it written down strongly, but also it's just like they went in forcefully. So in the concept of industrialization and colonization, so essentially Europe had grown so industrialized that it couldn't foster the people. That's why everyone kept fucking pushing outward. So when those people who had pushed outward with their development came in here, they were only focused on what they had already established. And it was very effective, apparently. So, well, like, in the context of time, it's hard to really understand the amount of time that colonization has taken, because like it's the like the Atlantic Triangle had been like a thing,
Yeah.
and like it's just
Bermuda.
so around, call it 1400s to like 1700s, so around 300 years of just doing shit, just like this is an expanse. We'll write back to people, but we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want, and then eventually enough people come on board, and enough people have this idea that they're doing the right thing. Puritanism is a real hypocritical concept, because like you're going out there and berating and beating and enslaving people to believe exactly what you believe because it's out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah.
It's not quite the right way to go about it, but intentionally they believed that they were doing the right thing. So that empowers people to want to create a goddamn bunch of faces on a mountain that essentially means everything to the people that were there. It means like a random photo shoot to any other white person.
It was a vanity project.
So yeah,
100%.
probably because of the prospect of gold in the mountains, but ultimately because there wasn't enough to like manufacture anything, they did just decide to make a whole ass fucking art piece on it. And it could house shit. Oh, what was the movie? I'm pretty sure there was a movie, Richie Rich.
Oh my God, yes.
Wherein they had like this secret base in Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
That's just like a highlight in my memory of seeing that. It was like, that at least seems kind of useful.
Yeah.
Other than like the motorcycle rally that happens out in the Black Hills out there in South Dakota in like the summertime. It's just, the Dakotas, it's so weird to think that they have like most of the states do inherit native language, like in the concept of what has remained from like the tribes that were originally here. Like we did take a lot of the concepts that had already been established, but then like when we murdered most of the people and got all the rest of them to come into our ways, we were like, okay, we'll give you this name. You can go on the dirt, but like this is a part of your land too. But the concept of making it the chicken pot pie outside of a melting pot is a concept now that more people are more informed about more topics and can get in front of being pushed into like the status quo. So progress is established on the concept that the status quo is good but not perfect. Like basically everything we're all agreeing on is like, this is the best that we can come up with at the moment, And when we come up with something better, we'll try and write it down and agree upon it and move it incrementally forward. So just recognizing like how things have been transpiring. It is good to get relative building blocks in the education system. Like learning about specific topics are good. Biology and like learning about chemicals and the environment and in some part of history. So the thing that I hated about writing was like you had to form an opinion and you had to like be validated by somebody whose opinion that you didn't really give a shit about either.
Yeah.
But like they made grades, so like you're like, oh, I gotta write it right, and you would try to come up with like the reason why I'm gonna talk about this topic is,
Yeah.
and then trying to critically consider the information at hand.
Yeah.
And that's essentially how everything progresses.
There was also another whole display for Bruce Lee, and I don't know if you want to talk about this. I think you know the most about it. He did not see it, but I did send videos, which is also another kind of like giant fucking slap in the face from Hollywood. You can explain why. You know the most about this.
Oh, shoot. All right, well, first I do want to say something. This does not reflect the views and opinions of the podcast, but this is just my view and opinion. Fuck Quentin Tarantino. Reason being because that movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there was just a gross depiction of Bruce Lee in it, and I get it, he's a public figure, you know, we all could be subject to being made fun of if you're in that like public field. However, knowing all of the things that he went through in Hollywood and how, you know, the white man was literally trying to keep him down, it's just kind of gross when the person who has benefited from so much privilege in Hollywood, like a Quentin Tarantino, it's just kind of gross to see him disrespect Bruce Lee in that way. I feel like comedy is most funny when it's the underdog making the powers that be the butt of the joke, but I'm never gonna laugh at some white dude who's making fun of Bruce Lee because I know all of the shit that he had to go through in Hollywood, from him even bringing this idea for a television show called Kung Fu, him bringing it to Hollywood producers and directors, and them saying that they would allow him to star in this, and because this is his idea, he wanted to use it as a star vehicle for himself, but then they give the part to a white dude.
That was David Carradine, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it's just kind of like, and rest in peace to him, but still kind of fuck him too in the same breath. Friend of
He
the
was
show
fucking
also,
himself, so he's
but
fine.
but it's just kind of like knowing all of these things happened to him, and then, you know, for him to be alive and not really feel like he was getting the type of love from Hollywood that he wanted, but then in death, people in Hollywood are still finding ways to make money off of his likeness. I just find it as like a gross injustice, because knowing that shit like that is happening to like so many of my black heroes, but then also knowing something like that even happened to this strong Chinese man and all of the bullshit that he had to endure in Hollywood. But then the very same Hollywood has the nerve to want to celebrate him now. It's just, for lack of a better term, it's just bullshit.
Yeah,
me.
that's fair. He's also said the N-word probably too many times. So,
Bruce Lee,
Tarantino?
like
yeah.
Yeah.
That the thing about Bruce Lee and Tarantino, those guys, like Tarantino's biggest character has fucking is in Bruce Lee's whole getup, like Kill Bill. It's just the Bruce Lee outfit, like the iconic yellow jumpsuit with the black line.
But my thing is like, just don't pick and choose when you want to, like, you know, celebrate. Because the way that I look at it, I don't even look at it as like paying homage to Bruce Lee, that he has the girl in the yellow like leotard. I just look at it as you jacking Bruce Lee's shit for your profit, essentially. Because it's like, we all know Bruce Lee is the one that made the yellow leotard iconic. And I love Uma Thurman in that role, and not to take nothing away
Yeah,
from
how
her.
much does Quentin Tarantino get to jerk off to women's feet in his old films before we're like, all right, dude, that's probably enough?
Bro, for real though. I've noticed that too. A lot. Well, I mean, that's like that dude from Nickelodeon that was having,
Dan Snyder, yeah.
yeah, having all these kids do weird shit with
Do
their
weird shit
feet.
with their feet, yeah.
But yeah, it was just a giant reminder that Hollywood is fucking gross. And then you kind of like reevaluate, like, damn, like, do I really want to do something in this? Like,
Well, okay.
you get what I'm
that's-
saying?
Because there is like a lot of bullshit that comes through. It does give credence to the greatness that does break through and has been able to make things more inclusive towards people. So I mean, yes, collectively, it's a whole big almighty fuck you to basically most people in society. But because the concept of creating art and like making a movie or a TV show, like basically committing a bunch of people to make a bunch of things for in front of a bunch of cameras for no real fucking reason other than like I got a vision. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of insanely magical. So like the fact that people want to keep pushing through does make the accomplishments that occur and like the presence of the perspective more important when it does get a light shine on it. And I think after we've gone through the pandemic, we've gotten to a place where we can be more open to just like decent people doing a thing that they want to do because it represents a thought that they had,
Yeah.
and being able to push it like brand it in the fact of like someone can own the content that they're working towards putting out without a bunch of old white dudes judging whether it's good enough or not.
Yeah. Where it's like, so don't get me wrong. Like, I understand, like, it just, I do like the magic of Hollywood, but sometimes I don't. Like, I contemplate whether my spirit can, and I'm talking like I'm someone who's even going on auditions or anything right now, but like, that's the idea, essentially, eventually. But sometimes I think one of my biggest hesitations to even take that like step forward is like, can my spirit handle seeing a lot of this stuff firsthand? You know what I mean? Like being in these places and see, like, or is that just going to really just kill the little bit of hope I have left in humanity? You know, or is it just like, am I going to be able to be a light in the darkness? Like, are you going to be able to do that still, or is it just going to completely just crush whatever bit of like human you have left in you?
I think you infiltrate it, and then like you be the good you want to see in the world, and like
You get what I'm saying, though?
exactly.
Yeah.
Once you're in the system, you can change it from the inside.
You would hope, but again,
But
like
what
I
if the
said,
system changes you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could go on forever in terms of it. You just have to hopefully have something
Then
good that's grounding you.
yeah.
You know, a good foundation.
You guys.
truthfully.
then you're honestly that'd be a kind of good problem to have if the system changes you, and that means that you're paid. That means that you're like a famous rich, like you sold out, and that's like you're on easy street for the rest of your life.
It's not really how it works. It's a concept that people glorify from the American dream. That's why the lottery is a thing. Everyone's just like, oh, just that one shot. If I can just wait and put my energy into this one thing, eventually I might be able to not have to care about anything else. And it's like, okay, possibly. I've seen statistically that doesn't really work out for most people.
New levels, new devils. More money, more problems. Life is going to always present some type of antagonist, regardless of whatever.
Well, someone finally won the lottery because the government needed money.
Sure.
So they're like, oh, we get to tax you on this,
Yeah.
so we're going to take most of it, but you'll be happy with the amount. Because truthfully,
It's all
there's
imaginary
like,
money at this point.
730-something million, right?
Yeah.
Which
It was
even,
over $1 billion, and then they
but
went
after
down.
taxes,
yeah.
it's like to 730-something million.
Still.
But that's still a lot of fucking money. That's more money than a lot of people see in their lifetime. So to me, like, yeah, you just take the money and you find ways to make that money make other money, essentially. And then, yeah, you're good. But there's a lot of people, I feel like, that's a whole nother discussion, I think, for another day. But, like, it's still, like, I don't know that it's necessarily, when I say the right people that are winning, I mean, like, people that are going to do something with the money other than just funneling it back into the, like, capitalist society, you know? Like, I feel like there's definitely a way that it's, like, everything's rigged to me.
Well, kind of. I mean, that's why casinos work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, like, it's a certain type of person that is like gambling. It's like, it is an addiction, and it is like a, you know, like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna take this, I won this, I'm on a lucky streak. And it's just, it's never the person quit while you're ahead, or like with the like, I'm stripping to get through college mentality necessarily, you know what I mean? It's the, oh, like, strike while the iron's hot, like, just like keep doing this, like, I'll catch my, you know, rather than like doing it in a way. Anyways, I have plans that I would do. Maybe that's our light note, what we would do if we did.
That's the light note?
Yeah.
All right. You know, low key, yeah, that could be it.
Like, because just imagining it, even, it's nice to think about sometimes. Yeah. Skylar, what would you do if you won the lottery, that 730 million?
I would buy an ancient Scandinavian burial mountain, and I would
All right,
have
Skylar.
our faces carved into it, and it would be dubbed Mount Crushmore.
He was waiting to say this one all day.
I know.
He made it pretty far into the podcast. He found a moment and he went with
and
it.
You had to make he had to pick the most serious thing we talked about too, and to just
Light it up, baby. That's fine.
All right, what would you do?
Oh, I've thought about this a lot.
All right, go for it.
I would definitely I have a list
Okay.
of people that have helped me along the way when
Yes.
I had nothing.
Yes.
Now, all of these people have helped me in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily always just giving people money. Like my parents, I would pay off whatever debt they have. I would pay off all of their debt. Their house would be paid for, whatever you like. And here's like a little nest egg. Now, if you fuck it up from here, that's on you.
Right.
But like they have always dug me out of shit along the years. Like I've fucked up a lot financially, like, and they've always come to my aid, you know. A lot of speeding tickets, driving without insurance that has just piled up,
just
and they've
normal
like,
stuff,
and they've like paid for like thousands of dollars of like tickets and stuff like that for me. So, you know, like here, like you do this, Robert and Clara, whatever they have to owe on the house, paid, whatever, and here's the money for whatever you want to do to upgrade the house to be able to pay people, hire professionals to come and make this whatever you want to make this. So here's the money for this. I would pay my sister's house off and my brother's house because they have both, you know. Everybody gets a fucking house. You know, here, I'm helping you with this. Beyond that, like,
what's the budget on these houses?
The budget on the houses, it depends on, like, everyone lives, other than
For your
this
brother.
house, buying a new house,
Yeah.
he's definitely going to buy a house in the Midwest somewhere. So he's going to get what, like, here's $100,000 and you should be fine. Maybe $200,000. The houses really aren't, like, that much there. Even with people moving out, like I've been looking at houses in Arizona and stuff with Clara.
So your sister's rewarded for like just living over here, she gets an extra 10 times more money.
No, she
than your
lives in
brother?
Arizona.
Oh.
So they're all gonna be getting about the same amount of money because their house, other than Robert and Clara, but also like I've been here, they've really helped me out with like, you know, a lot of stuff. So it's just like I can, you know,
So
like
we're
I
at-
got you guys.
We just tipped over 1 million. You still have 400.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's just
sure.
like that's all that money. So
Right.
and because it's a lot of money, then I would then of course like get my own little spot and have, you know, you would get a car, I would get a car, you would get a car, everybody gets a car. But then cars are like, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, just people that have
They
helped
can
along
end up
the
being
way.
liabilities.
What?
Like
Cars?
cars? Yeah. Like
thanks.
you gotta keep it full of gas. You gotta
Yeah, but that's
pay
like
a car note.
that's like, hey, this is, I know you need this. This is your, you know, okay. Then the people along the way, it's like I've known people who are like makeup artists or like this is like, you know, like you do nails. How much, like just kind of like asking without asking. I would probably have someone like a PI or somebody like just kind of like seeing what these people need now at this, because some of these people I don't really actually even talk to anymore.
Aw.
You know, but they did play a big part in my life at one point and one time. So it's just like I got a friend who's got like 4 kids and stuff, and I know her marriage is kind of a little.
Oh yeah. The background check on who came back clean. But go ahead, continue.
Thank you.
Instead of like having the PI go through and like follow these people and them kind of give you hints for you to decide on one, like just a lump sum and then they can decide for themselves what they need.
But see,
with
that's
it or
the
what they don't
thing.
need
I
with it.
don't want to just.
You don't
That's the
trust
thing.
them?
These people are terrible with money.
Yeah, no, you have to like, and then of course, then
God,
there's then there's the chunk of money that is just used to invest and finding like businesses, and that is even just like, hey, here's your nest egg. You want to
Right.
start this business? Here you go. I'm giving you
Yeah.
all the tools you need to succeed,
Yeah.
and basically just setting people up for success that they can have on their own, and just like, you know, and then even that's a whole fucking tax write-off even. Like, so it's just like, yes, I'm doing this, and you count at that, and then it's even something that's profitable
Do you get
after
points
that
in
as
the
well.
back ends for each one of these businesses?
I didn't want anybody to know that it was me. I just
Oh.
wanted it, just like
Like an angel investor.
yeah,
I
like
feel
it's just
that.
like, just like someone's
Robin
interested in
Hood.
your business,
Like
and
a
they'd
super
like to
PAC.
invest, and it would just be under a corporation that they like. I would like get a whole
Loco.
LLC and everything. Yeah, but like they just wouldn't know it was me. That's why I would have someone else being like the legwork person, like, you know.
Everybody in the family is getting like millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff. Everybody knows that you're the one who won the. I think they. and
But that's what they
California
tell you
announced
not to. They tell you not to
Oh.
tell, and you can actually, like, I
Some
know
states it's like
someone wore a
mandatory.
mask to go pick up, like, to sign for their money
But
and stuff.
honestly, though, I would have to tell you not to tell. No.
Oh my God, I would want to tell somebody.
many
I would
people.
want to tell somebody and be like, guys, we have money now. It's okay. Just, you don't have to be stressed anymore. It's fine. Share the good news, you know. But yeah, I do think that's pretty much what and then of course, here's a lump sum to invest. So then I don't necessarily. I would open up a tiny theater.
Why tiny? You have all the money. Make
Because
a big theater.
I like a tiny theater. I think it's
Tiny
more
theater is
it's more intimate.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
that was funny. You could like just buy Broadway and then
What?
like
I'm
or
dead.
a building on Broadway. which
Nah,
is, like,
but I
half of
want it to
Broadway.
be something for like people like a community type thing where people that don't necessarily aren't allowed the opportunities, or you know, like, and maybe it be like a program too, you know, tiny theater, like, and it's like in different cities, you know. Anyways, that's the whole thing. Now we're going to my vision board shit, but yeah, Corey, what would you do with $730-something million?
Everything he's doing right now.
Just like you did.
My concept. So essentially, I'm not a big fan of money. So I would sit with it for a while, and I would be like, all right, what would help to make things cost less money? I would try to figure out if I could disperse it into like some actual type of housing situation, like reconfiguring our housing program concept, wherein like we can make the cost of living overall a little less shitty for everyone. So like the mega millionaires won't have quite as much money, but I mean they'll still have incrementally the same amount of money. It won't fucking be on the backs of everyone's fucking necks.
Says the mega millionaire. That's you have a mega. You're the mega millionaire.
No, I would put it back into the system. I would try to reallocate that money to like housing and education.
Yeah.
Essentially, and maybe and then anything left over would go to fucking roads because they're pretty important.
Huh.
So yeah, my concept is to build from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because again, having had no money, I learned how to not have to deal with a lot of money, and having like my grandparents grew up on like built a farm, and
nice.
like my mom and her sisters and brothers like grew up on a farm. So like I experienced third hand how little how the whole point of agriculture is to like you can survive like on just like corn and a couple cows and some chickens and some fucking not necessarily just corn, but like you can grow the shit that you need to sustain as long as you got like land and are aware of the environment. So having seen homesteading, it's hard as fuck, but you can recognize the true value of like what a dollar costs. So being able to like bring everyone back down to like deflate that bubble to somewhere back in the 90s, get everyone a little bit more comfortable without the $1 trillion deficit or whatever the fuck imaginary money we're talking about this digital age. That's just probably not gonna happen because I don't play the lottery.
You can't win if you don't play.
I mean,
And I'm not gonna lie, there would be a good chunk of it that I just fucking blow on stupid shit because stupid shit makes me happy.
Sure. I would also just like to hold to live off passive income. The only thing I've ever given a shit about is passive income. And since I already had to go through the VA to get a disability from them sending me to war for no real reason, I got passive income. So I would just try to maintain that type of establishment and then also make it easier for other people.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
All right.
Not much to it. Mama, grandma, my mama house, and then take the rest of it and live in Honduras in seclusion. That's it.
Just buy an island off of it.
That's it.
You're gonna learn how to deal with a boat. You're gonna buy a boat.
Nah. No, I'm just gonna stay on land, live in Honduras amongst those people, and
Why Honduras?
oh well, because that's a place that I loved, and
I knew
always
it.
wanted to visit there, and
I've been there. They
hopefully-
got lots of dogs. Just
and hopefully make a difference in the community while I'm there, and then pick up like a piece of her vision, and hopefully carry on the shit that she was trying to do. That's what I would do if I had all the money. And that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, incrementally, that would also take a passport, which, in which we've gotten a few steps closer to it, but it's a whole ass process, and this is a whole ass process. So maybe one of you can win the lottery, and you can tell us what you're gonna do with it, or tell us what you think to do with it, or tell us something. I don't know. Be a part of it, or don't. I'm not your dad. We can be friends though. We're all friends of the show, so we can all try and clap together once Skylar puts his water bottle down in 3, 2, 1. Fucking almost.
Damn it.
You know.
So
Yeah.
close.